Hello guys and welcome to my new video, and today we're going to talk about gerrymandering and how it affects American politics at this right moment, where Republicans are saying that they want to redistrict Texas, Indiana, a lot of even Ohio, Florida to get even more seats for the 2026 midterm election because they think they are behind, according at least to the polls. But the polls are polls, and the polls doesn't decide elections, as you saw in 2016 and even in 2020 at a certain degree. So we're going to talk about each state today. So we're going to see which states are better for the Democrats, which states are better for the Republicans, and if the Republicans are really one of the most or even the most beneficiaries of the situation right now. So let's start with Washington. Washington state is a gerrymandered state for the Democrats. I know it's not easy to get Republican seats here, but as you can see, you have two Republicans, and the Republicans got, I think, 40 something percent of the vote as a whole. As you can see, 40% of the vote in Washington is at least 4 seats. But the Republicans got this seat and that seat, which is a very heavy Republican areas. But in a wave here for the Republicans, they can get the third district and also the sixth at some point, and also the eighth. So this is a gerrymander for the Democratic Party that could end up in a dummy mander, if you will, because there are some districts here that in a year that the Republicans win like plus 13, which is not easy. But let's just imagine hypothetical that the Republicans can still get 5 seats out of 10 or even more in that. But this is a state that does not represent the proportion of the seats that are needed, at least, because the Republicans, if this was to be fair, Republicans need at least to have 4 seats, and they don't. Then we move to Oregon. Same thing. You have one Republican in in 6 districts. That is just bad. I know they lost one, which is the 5th district, but still, 2 out of 6 is not fair. Republicans got, I think, 45% or 43%, and Democrats got 53%. So 3-3 is probably the best version of Oregon, at least right now, because I don't think it's 50-50. Even though the Democrats won, they barely won. So maybe 3-3 or even 4-2, that was a better situation. This is not the worst, but it's still a Republican right now are behind of what they get in terms of the votes. I'm going to leave California for the last. I'm going to separate this video in 2 different parts. And you move to Idaho. Idaho is a very tough state to get Democratic seats because you have very concentration of Republicans in both districts. You can design one like this one, and you go to Pocatello, but it's still under Idaho Falls like this one, stretch it over here, but it's still very tough to get it. I tried, and the Democrats would still lose the seat by, I think, 10 points or something. So in a way here, the Democrats might still win, but it might be the best suggestion. Even though it looks terrible, I'm just going to show it to you. So the district I made is this one. The map I made that the Democrats could have at least one seat in Nuevia. You see here from Boaz to Twin Falls, Pocatello. You pushed a little bit off Pocatello, as you can see here, and then Idaho Falls. This sounds terrible, looks terrible, I'm sorry, but there's still the most democratic district, or the most democratic district you can make out of Idaho, because I know it's still 2-0, and you guys can see here, this is so bad. Idaho needs at least one more seat, so then you can have a Democratic seat, if you will. But now let's move on to Montana. Montana is a 2 seats, and this is a great separation, if you will, because this is Montana. This is the first district. It's very democratic, not very democratic, but in the wave year like 2026, probably the Democrats could still win this seat in Montana. So I think that one is at least fair. Wyoming, nothing to say. It's a house at large, so nothing to worry about there. Utah is gerrymandered in favor of the Republican Party. That is true. What can you say about this one state here is that you need desperately one seat around Salt Lake City and Provo, and you can have a Democratic seat here, and that is possible without getting into too much. I think 3-1 is the best separation in Utah, because imagine the Democrats, I think, got 30 something percent of the vote, or even 40%. So 2-2 is not fair, but I think 3-1 is fair. So the Democrats need one seat here in Utah. Arizona is another one that is not fair. It's gerrymandered to favor Republicans again. You only have 3 Democratic seats in 9, which means 33% of the vote, but the Democrats got, I think, 45 or even 46. So especially down here, I know in a wave year they can win the first. They can also win where it is. I'm sorry, this one as well, because it's 9 points. You can flip by 9, but they can get 2, and they still need at least 1, because they put all the Democrats inside Phoenix in one area, as you can see here, and they also draw this district here to get Tucson, and also go to this part of Yuma. They put the city, basically, they put the part of the city of Yuma, and then they put also a part of Phoenix. This is just gerrymandered a lot, and you need to understand that if you are a Republican, this is not great. I'm sorry, I'm going to move to California. This is not great, and the Republicans need to consider that this is not fair for the Democrats. This is the opposite scenario. It's not fair for the Republicans. They need at least to have one more seat, 2-2, because they got 50% of the vote. And the Democrats did one very clever thing for them. They split Las Vegas in 3 districts, as you can see here, the first, the third, and the fourth. They split all of them so they can get at least 3 Democratic seats. But this could be, and this is a very important scenario, if the Republicans have a red wave here, this could mean that the Republicans are going to win all the 4, because here the margin is only 8, the margin here is 8, and the margin here is 3. So actually they can get all the 4 districts in a wave here, but the Democrats can get a second. So this one is a secured win for the Republicans, if you will. But it's not true. It's not fair at all for the Republican Party here. Wyoming already saw. This is Colorado. Is basically has 4-4, which is not great. I mean, this should be 5-3 or something. But this was in part because of how the 8th district flipped to the Republican side by only 2,449 votes. But when it got to the point next year's elections, the 2026 elections, this will go to the Democratic side. And probably even more in that, probably even here in the House 3rd District to Jeff Hurd, this will probably also go to the Democratic side, and they'll win at least 2 more seats in Colorado. But that's what I mean. You need to be very attention, because some gerrymandering, the Republican, not only the Republicans, but all the parties do that. They could end up in a dummy manner, and that means that the Republicans are actually losing and the Democrats, or vice versa, they're losing seats of their own. They're creating purpose of them for winning the state. New Mexico is a gerrymandered state for the Democratic Party, because the Republicans need at least 1 seat here. I know it's not easy at all, but they can get that the second, as you can see, and you can make the district to be a little more Republican, so the Republicans could have at least 1 seat, and they deserve to have, because they won, as you can see here, around 46 to 45% of the vote, total vote in New Mexico. And then I'm just going to do those states as well. Then you have North Dakota, nothing to worry about. South Dakota, same thing. Nebraska, the Republicans also, this is quite fair, if you will, because Omaha, you can make a little bit more to the Democrats in Omaha, but the rest is, I think it's pretty much correct. But you can make Omaha a little bit more Democratic. The Republicans are trying to do the opposite thing, because the incumbent here, Don Bacon, is retiring, so the Democrats are probably going to win the seat if it is nothing if it is not drawn in order to favor the Republicans. But they can go like this way to get all of this part. You can split Omaha in 3. That's also a possibility. What the Republicans are probably going to say about that. You already have something. Look, the House, the 3rd district, you go a little bit of Omaha. This one have a little bit of Omaha here, and the one is the most Omaha district. But I think you can get another one. In Kansas, the Democrats could have another one here, 2-2. I don't think that's fair. I think how it is right now, it's fair. In a wave year, no, they cannot get more seats, but I think 3-1 is fair. And in Oklahoma, the Democrats should have at least 1 seat in Oklahoma. That'll be Oklahoma City. You can put Oklahoma City together alongside Tulsa, and then you're going to get 1 seat there. I think that's the fairest you can make in Oklahoma. The Democrats need at least 1 seat. So now we only have, in this video, Texas and California. I'm just going to go to California right now. California is a gerrymandered state for the Democratic Party. I know you're going to say it's an independent commission. It's not independent at all, so this is only gerrymandered to the Democratic side. The Republicans only have basically 9 seats, which means I think 17% of all the delegation of all the delegation in California is Republican, but the Republicans got 40% of the whole vote, I think, in the state. This is not correct. The Democrats should have at least, they should try to make more Republican seats, because this is not correct in terms of percentage-wise. I know you can draw a map that wipes out all the Republican seats. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, is trying to do that, but that's unconstitutional, at least for now, because the independent commission is drawing the maps, and even though this is not independent at all, because you see here the Republicans should have at least more seats. I know it's not easy to draw them, but it's possible. You need to understand that. I'll move to Texas, which is the biggest one in terms of the attention right now, the national attention. The Democrats are trying to, the Republicans are trying to get at least 5 more seats. They're going to get eventually the 2 more seats here in the 34th and the 28th, because this area in Texas is shifting to the Republican side. It's the Rio Grande Valley, as you can see here. Laredo and also Hidalgo County is just right here. They flipped this seat, which is Monica de la Cruz seat right now. This was Vicente Gonzalez, I think, seat, and now it's Monica de la Cruz, the representative from the 15th district. And these 2 districts are going to flip eventually, even without the redistricting at all. I know people are saying, oh, maybe they're not going to swing as much as they did in 2024. They'll need to. They swing like 20 points in 4 years. That doesn't need to happen. This is a quite weird district, because what with the 2 principles of gerrymandering is packing and cracking. What they did here is packing. You put all the Democrats from Austin in a highway, all of them, and then you go to San Antonio, and then you get this awfully terrible aspect district. And in Houston, it's not bad. I think you can have more democratic district. This is a gerrymandered state already to the Republican side, so you think you can still have a more Democratic friendly state, but the Republicans are trying to do the opposite side. I think here in El Paso, with time, this might flip as well, because of all the Democratic people shifting in this area. I'm just gonna do Alaska. Alaska is basically House at Large, and also Hawaii. It's Honolulu, and then the rest of the islands in Hawaii. In the next video, we're gonna see the rest, the half we're missing. We'll see you in the next. Don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Thank you.